This is Dr. Judith Briles, and we're up for another episode of the Author You, Your Guide to Book Publishing podcast. I'm going solo today on one of my favorite topics and ideas for you to get visibility success, to get credibility, to start building your influence. So we're going to talk about Amazon. We're going to talk about creating a #1 bestseller. I teach a class on that every few months. My last class for the year, which sounds shocking to say, is this month, the month of October when we first go live, and where I was working with 9 authors at different stages. Some they have their books almost ready to pop. Many of them, in fact, most of them already have books in hand. Some have done my bestseller campaign before. Others have come for the first time. So one of the things that when you do Amazon run is you do want to think about going in the push forward and even like the mentality of repurposing it. Let's come back to the party again and remind people. Now, most bestsellers in the old days, we only pushed for just go buy the book, go buy the book, go buy the book. And we put together this incredible team of people that will come in and support and do that. Today is more likely going to be around the ebook and doing a freebie push out in that. So let's start with quote, like I always like to do from my How to Create Snappy, Sassy, Salty Success, authors and writers. So we have, gosh, like 400 of my quotes in here. And I opened up randomly to the marketing section. So let's start with this. Eyes wide open, like that. Know what you're getting into when you start down the marketing path. It's a commitment and is rarely short term. And boy, that's the gospel. This is not even a marathon, it's a series of marathons. So, this is a great little book to keep you going. It's also, we want to thank our sponsors, two key, certainly TogiNet, our radio network behind us, but um, uh, uh, Rebecca Finkel with FPGD, that's Frank Paul Good Day. How's that? FPGD.com. She is a fabulous book designer and cover designer and a creative for coming up with swag that works for display. And in fact, we did a show just a week ago with Rebecca and I that we went into swag and how to set up a display in a bookstore and so much more in that process. So, but today we're going to do Amazon. Our other sponsor is thank you. Kudos to Nick Zellinger of nzgraphics.com. So Rebecca's at fpgd.com and Nick is at nzgraphics.com. Both stellar, award-winning designers, creatives, and all the support that we authors need to add to our visibility when we're out there, to our attachments, to become memorable when you meet people and they take away goodies that you have. All right, so we're going to talk Amazon. And that I know a lot of people have a love-hate. I've had kind of a grumpy at time, but without Amazon, most of us independent authors, independent presses, self-publishers wouldn't have a boat to get into. So they have really made it possible in so many ways. You just have to learn to work with it. And one of the tips in working with it is to create your status, your influence, your mark on becoming a bestseller. So that's what we're going to go through. And I'm going to go through elements of the class that I teach over a 4-week period of time. They're like 90-minute sessions. It's intense one-on-one coaching with me as I'm working through them. So it's no slides, no decks, just me and going inside and out of how we put this baby together, which is, I think, what you'd probably want to do a true show and tell in this stuff. And I just reminded myself I forgot to turn my phone off. So there we go. All right. So let's think about what I do in the setup. is, first of all, do you want to be a bestseller? If your answer is yes, all right, come on in. If you're not sure, my question for you is why not? What would it hurt if you weren't? Well, some people will say, well, everybody knows it's a game. Everybody knows that, um, for Amazon, you're lucky to be on for an hour, unless you're some huge thing going on right now as we speak. In the fiction area, certainly Dan Brown in his new books, The Secret of Secrets, is humongous. I'm in that. And is so is several other books, both fiction and nonfiction, and they have, their bookstore sellers, right? That Amazon is an online retail seller. It's also the dominant book seller out there. And the big boys, the Simon and Schusters, the Hachets, the Random House, the Penguins, you fill in the blank, they would not want to do without Amazon either. So you're in good company, is what I'm saying. You're in the right company. It's just, so how do you kind of rise above the 2 million books that are published every year? Okay, so this is where you've got to have the designers in, like the Rebeccas and the Nicks I talked about, that will really create a cover that you can compete with the big boys that come out. So when you're thinking of doing an Amazon run, um, I don't want you to, all our shows go live on a Thursday, every new show. I don't want you to think like on Friday, oh, let's do an Amazon bestseller campaign on Monday. No, it takes time to process and planning. This is not the time that you want mediocrity to shine. You really want to look like you know what you're doing, and putting that together. So I've mentioned already that did my last class in October. When does the next one open up? In January? And I always do it on Wednesday afternoons. And I do it, the 1, 2, 3, 4 smack in a row. I record everything. So if you're really interested, you can go to my own personal website, which would be thebookshepherd.com. Just click on events. It's a drop down tab, and it's all the information is right there. All right, now, what's important for you, is to have a book. Get ready to go on it. That you want to be on, you're going to use KDP, and you're going to be on the check the box for select. And that will be the first things that you really do. This is, and we're going to be doing this for an ebook. This is your ebook that you're going to be promoting, and you're going to be doing literally, we talk about how to do a campaign, put together a campaign and shout it out. For all my clients that I work with, all my students that are in my classes, I am a partner with them. Meaning that I will be a shout out pusher with my influence type contacts to shout out and say, hey, everyone, get this book right now, today. And with that. All right, so if you've got, you need this is an ebook, so your EPUB will be up on Amazon, and you're not going to be up on any other sources for your ebook, except your website. You can get away with that. But other than that, I would just take them down for this process, and you'll have that. Now, if you're in Canada, there's some certain rules that you need to do some checking on, that you need to make sure you verify with the Amazon portal, that you follow the protocol it says for you to follow if you're outside the United States and trying to run this, and you're not doing it on Amazons.com. I don't care if you live in Germany or England or France or Mexico. It doesn't matter. Is if you're using the .com, you're using that portal, which is the North American. Canada CA would be different as Australian and all the like. And by the way, this is kind of fun with an Amazon bestseller, is that often there's a domino factor, that if you succeed in starting to mark Position yourself like in the, oh, say the top five areas in the genres, the categories that you're in. Don't be surprised to discover you might also be in Canada and Australia and maybe the UK. And it kind of scouts around where you could also land. And then you can say, I'm an international bestseller, which has nice clout, nice reach. So, one of the things that I think is very important for you to do is make sure you understand what is your personal clout? How many contacts can you do? Can you send out an email to whoever is on your email contact list and let them know that you have this event coming on these days? Usually we do it over a 3-day period of time because I like to have people hold it, really hold it, position, be visible for 3 solid days as the bestseller in their respective categories. So have you, what are your contacts? Can you let them know, shout it out, remind them, ask them, tell their friends, go get your book, that kind of thing. Secondly, how about your social media? What's your number count and where are you hanging from? And so I would go through just logically, if you're on TikTok, how many connections there, and Instagram and LinkedIn and Facebook and Pinterest, even Pinterest, by the way, and YouTube, YouTube, the number 2 search engine owned by number 1, the Google. So, what is it that you have that will be your support to do the shout out and doing that? The second thing that you want to do is know what the appropriate hashtags are. And you're using them now, why don't you go in and do a checkup on it? And one of the sites I like to use is Toolzoo, TOOLZU.com. And the other one is best-hashtags.com. That's going to give you enough going on. And as you get to that day of your big event, is that you want to just follow up. What are the trending hashtags? Is there anything that could connect your book, your expertise, could connect with anything that is trending? I would certainly suggest that you do a coattail on to that baby and take advantage of that. Then it's also important to understand. So how many books do I need to sell? And by the way, when this is a freebie, we're going to do books for free, ebooks for free. When a book is downloaded on Amazon, that is counted as a sale, free or fee. It's counted, and that's what we're doing. We're notching up numbers, and doing that and the like. Now, it's important for you, as I said, that you're going to be on KDP Select. I would also encourage you to make sure that you're on Author Central. So on your detail page that you have, if you look on your detail page on Amazon, that underneath your book cover, it might say sample, but it also could have your name about the author. Let's do an update on that. And so just click on it. It'll take you right over to your page if you have one. If you don't, let's create it. You can that you connect it with whatever books you have on Amazon, so they'll show up. And it does make a difference in the process as you go through everything. And I want you to start getting into the habit of hashtagging, using hashtags all the time. You may want to use your name once in a while. Hashtag your name. Remember, you've got usually 2 names, your first and last. You don't, however you go by, you don't have any spaces. You put them together. I'd also like to encourage you to get into the habit of using upper and lower case with whatever words you have, because it's more memorable for the eyeballs, for the person who is viewing it, reading it, in the like. So let's make sure that you do that and explore it. And some people always use their book title. Well, if you've got a 1-word book title, that might work. But are there followers for it? If they're not, I wouldn't worry about it on that. And I will show you some of the campaign things that we will push out. But for a your genre, for example, I have a cookbook. Excuse me. I have a cookbook called Cooking with Judith. Hashtag foodie. Hashtag foodie Friday. Things like that. Now, there's some generic ones that you want to use, like Book Boost. It could be Books Go Social. You could be using Authors Go Social, possibly, but something that will give it a little bit more. If you're trying to get the attention of book clubs, hashtag book club. If your book is an ideal one for a book club, let's get that into play in it. And that if you're going to, if you're doing like we do all our shows now, you can listen to it just audio, or you could listen to it with the video and the audio with it. So we always conclude now the hashtag YouTube. So whatever works for you, this is the prep that you're going to get going on it, and how you detail it. And this would be also the time that you want to look at your detail page. If you've had any reviews come in that are just really super, um, have you thought about taking a line, a segment of it, a blurb of it, and you go back into your KDP, go into your details, update details page is what you do. And I would suggest you put it right on the tippy top of how your book is described. So when you open Amazon and it's got your cover, and then to the right, I mean, people pick, is it going to be Kindle? Is it going to be paper? Is it going to be hard? Whatever you have, that audio, it'll all be displayed there to the right. But you'll have text that describes it. What I'm suggesting you do, if you've had a couple of really good blurbs or just one, and from maybe a name that might be recognized, is that I want you to put it in on top of your regular items that you had in there describing out. Put it in on top. For example, I just got I mentioned my cookbook. All right, so there's and let me suggest to all of you, there's a great resource called Literary Titan, LITERARYTITAN.com, and you pay for the book review, and it's accepted. It's one of the legit reviewers. What comes out is incredibly detailed about your book, and there's anywhere from 1 star, well, you need to rewrite, to 5 stars. If you get a 4 or 5 star review, they automatically enter it into the book awards that they give out. And they are a rolling book award. They don't do it like once a year. Every month, there's new book awards. If you get a 4 or 5, it's a freebie to you. You don't have to pay to enter the book awards. So I'm going to just show you very quickly. This is, my Cooking with Judith, all right? Oh, okay, what's to say? Wow, eating. All right, so there's the cover. And then here is, you got 5 stars. But let me tell you, on the review, there were so many great. For example, here's one sentence. It's a casual, approachable, and definitely centered on comfort food with a little flair. Right, so I could create a question on top of the details, my regular book details, and I could create a question. Are you looking for a casual approach to cooking that's definitely centered on comfort food and has a little flair to it? Question mark. I would do that in bold. You can do bold and italic and regular font. Amazon gives you that an option. I would do something like this. There was another line. This book is pretty much a love letter to food and the joy of sharing it. So those kind of things that you can tell. And this reviewer kind of fell in love with my book. Kind of cool. But they will help you. And you can hold just one line, one sentence, and put it on top in bold to be the magnet to pull someone in. That's my suggestion that you do on that. All right. So now we're going along and understanding that hashtags are your friend. We're going to recommend that you do your Amazon bestseller on either a Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, or Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Your first day is your powerhouse day. The rest of it is kind of the domino of how it goes, what will be happening in the process as you move it along. That's where we're at in this whole spiel of making it work for you, and the powerhouse that you are, and have it come around. So that's what I'm looking at in that area. So it will be ideal, to have some response, and responses happen pretty big. So do you do ads? Yes, you do. And you can do multiple, but the major one is going to be your first day. And do we do it all through the weekend? Nope, because we find that book buying really dribbles on Saturday, and Sunday it's like yawn. So your big days are going to be your Thursday. If you do Wednesday, that could kick it off just fine. Thursday, Friday. Now, those hashtags, there's fun hashtags that you could use that could help support what you're after. And days of the week have certain hashtags, which are kind of cool, that you could take advantage of in that process. And I would be looking, for example, if I did a Wednesday, maybe it's Wednesday Wisdom or Wisdom Wednesday. It goes that if you have a nutritional book or a health related book, Wellness Wednesday. If your book is just kind of to be motivating people and getting going, it's Healthy Hump Day sometimes. Or if it deals with exercise, it's Wednesday workout. Those are the kind of things that you're looking at. Thursday could be Thursday thoughts. It could be Think Positive Thursday. Those little tools as you have it. Friday is another one, and Thursday song. Friday, for me, Foodie Friday. If I was going to do a push out for my little cookbook and make it run. On Saturday, I would probably be making posters, and let's talk about posters in just a sec. With a kitty cat on it, whether it's kittens or mature cats, because there's Saturday is also known as hashtag Catter Day. Hashtag Catter Day. Friday is sometimes, Friday is Friday Reads is a big day. Come on, let's just settle in for the weekend and, get ready for just open the pages and fall in type thing. And Saturday can also be swaggy, Saturday swag, Saturday shout out. And then one of the ones you want to do starting Friday is hashtag weekend. All right, so this is all for marketing. This is all for the campaign push out. So you're going to create a whole bunch of stuff to show, to pitch, literally to do the pitch as it goes forward with that whole area. And that's what you definitely want to do. So that's your prep work. What hashtags do you have? Do you have your KDP set up? Do you have a good details to describe your page? Have you got any blurbs or even awards that you could highlight and put on the tippy top of your details page on Amazon so any visitor would see that first on that? And so those are the kind of goodies that I'm after and looking for. Now, categories. What categories do you go into? I use something called Publisher Rocket to help me identify what categories work best that will get my clients to number one the fastest. And you will discover with that kind of tool, and let me tell you, it costs close to $300. Maybe you don't, maybe that's for my clients. We go in and I use it because I paid for it. if you've got more than a couple of books and you really are going to go back and maybe using some of the other power tools within the Publisher Rocket, that I'm going to refer you to two different websites. Same thing, you're looking for the same thing. And one is my personal website, bookshepherd.com. And if you look under tab resources, scroll down and you'll find a link for Publisher Rocket. And normally it's around $2.99. It'll save you $100. Right. And then the other resource would be AuthorU, the letter U.org, under resources again, and look for it and take advantage. I've used it a gazillion times, and most of my clients have accessed it, and we do it both those ways. All right. What you have to do, this is what we're looking for with that tool, is categories. What categories do you belong into? And this is where you maybe want to, you think, well, I have a sci-fi book. My book is sci-fi, fiction, sci-fi. Do you know how many gazillion books you have to sell to win number one in sci-fi? But there's subsets. And one of the things that this would be a time for you to go do what we call comparison author shopping. Who are the big sellers? Who's doing well on Amazon? Who's getting lots of reviews, or who is getting uh, uh, best status? Ranking is the right word I'm looking for. Who's got ranking going on? Go to the author's website. So some of them will be by their name.com. Some may have a variation. So just go into Google and ask for so-and-so's, Sam Smith's website, and see where you go on that. And pay attention to, um, what their books are. Or you just go to Amazon. They'll help you and show you what oddball categories. Typically, Amazon will show you 3 categories on it and where they're going. So that's what's important. I think it might make sense to do some show and tell here. Let me get some things out of the way here. I'm going to go over and I'm going to open up my computer. Ben, if you could turn on my request for sharing, and that we'll get in there. And then I'm going to show you a couple of things on the categories, how you can piecemeal and figure out what you can do and bring it up. All right, so I'm going to go into Amazon real quick. And let me get out of here. I've got to get out of, I should have closed everything down before I started. Shame on me. All right, so let's go into Amazon and find out and just check in on somebody's book. All right. So let's just go here. I'm just going to pull up one of my books. This is one we're just launching right now, but let's see if there's any categories here showing. All right. So we have medieval historical fiction. We've got in both books and Kindle, and then women's historical fiction. All right. So those are in those areas. But what you might want to do is let's go over to the top 100 in the Kindle store. So something about Hazelwood. All right. Then we've got The Correspondent. Oh, and we have Dan Brown. All right. So Dan Brown's the big one. So let's come back to he is going to be in just the major categories. So where do? You scroll down to get past the details. Now, do you see where you've got certain reviews? They're showing in very clearly. All right, so he's action thriller fiction, mystery action fiction, suspense action fiction. So if your categories are any of those, it's going to be really hard to get to number one with Dan Brown kind of hogging the scene. But there's other variables that you can get into. Now, what we're looking here is if I go into Kindle, I'm just clicking around. I'm after categories here. So we can look at those, but we can look any of these. Let's just look at fiction categories. Now, if you can see these coming up, we've got teens, Well, we're still back. It just flipped out of here. So let's just go back into here. All right. Here's a better snapshot on your left, if you're looking at this. You've got all these different categories, and you'll find that they have subsets to them on that. So let's click on a hugely popular romance. It's hugely popular. Trying to own number one in romance is going to be so different. But look at all these subsets of it. Adaptations, alpha man, you know, Amish romance, all right, billionaires, clean and wholesome on that. You've got enemies to lovers. You've got a huge amount of categories that you can sub to, and you keep looking. You're doing this drill down to figure, where can I fit? Where can I fit? Which makes a huge difference in this process. So if it's, that it paranormal, I've got one of my clients is doing paranormal. Well, there we go. Hazelwood has got it. But you've got all these other variables that you can do. Now, if I went into seeing, so what's going on with this guy, right? They has a gazillion reviews. So when I'm talking about putting the blurb in, this is where I would do it on top of this, right above where when a vampire slayer, oh, the vampires are back. When a vampire slayer loses, blah, blah, blah. If I had a really good review from something, this is where it would go. This is where it would go. All right, so the title of the book is Hot for Slayer. The author is Hazelwood, right? And then if you move down, we're going to find the details. So there, number one in Kindle singles romance, number one in contemporary, number one in paranormal. So if I went back, this is where I found it in the paranormal. And that's what you're looking for. This is where you're going to take this over. Now, they have another subset that if we had, I could get into it. Any of these. So whoever Allie is, they own this. They've got all of them just tied up here in this arena. So we have monsters. But this is what you're looking for. How can I take control and own this? And then you'll see, Kindle Unlimited, where these all Kindle Unlimited? Pretty much. So people are pulling it down in their Kindle Unlimited category. There's also a free category, and that's where they will come up with, if you have free Kindle, I put in free Kindle books, and then they have a breakdown of languages of where those go. But you want to have, and let's see if anything comes up with this. All right, here, this is what I'm looking for. So top free. All right, this book is number one. This is where you're going to go when you put your book in your ad. You're going to buy an ad with my recommendation is free book seed. You'll have that. And this is what you're going to be monitoring. And this will come in and be. So if if I click on this one and go to their book page, you just clicked over to their book page, it's telling me what's happening. They're number one in small town romance, number three in contemporary romance, and number four in romantic comedy. So this is how, when you're going into your categories, you're going to be able to do kind of like a mix match and mix them all up and see what's there. But my advice is make sure you see whatever your key category is, what's the competition, and seeing what they're doing in that. And then Amazon displays the top 100 as you go on. So here's some great blurbs So editorial reviews, it says one of the funniest rom-coms I've read this year, right? So these are from going up from everywhere on that. And where I would have landed, I would actually have put one of the best rom-com, because now this is rom-com, right on top of this. I would do a couple of those blurbs that were much lower in the category. I would bring them up because this is what people read in this process. Okay? So I'm going to go out of stop sharing, but this is what you're looking for to do this, to do your pitch out. That's the why, because you want to claim I'm a number one seller. Now, what are you going to do when you become number one? You're going to create a badge and you're going to create a new logo to put on your category. So if I went back in, because I've done a bestseller category with Cooking with Judith, I'm going to go back in and I'm going to try to find the Amazon, and I'll find one of my books. Let's see, let me do here. Amazon, and I'm going to go on Cooking with Judith. All right, so here you have, this is this guy. And do you see what we did here? Award-winning bestseller, number one. So now we just had our book designer. Can you create me a new cover that I can upload onto the Kindle? Because that's what it got. So every once in a while, that works and you go on. So with this new blurb, great review I'll get, I will go in to the book description. Well, here's where I hit number one. So I post, this was the back cover headline. Wellicious, is Wellicious cooking for you. Right. So, but then when I hit international bestseller, so I hit 4 countries on this, Canada and Australia and UK. And I just put, I was number one in these categories, all on Amazon. So that's the kind of thing that you're doing to do your brag as you go on. Now, what do you do with it? You get back out on social media and you announce it and you put it together that way as you come along with it, and you keep doing that, and you can you're going to go to your profiles and you're going to change to that you are a number one bestseller, or you can just say bestseller. You don't need to do all the number one thing. You can do the bestseller with that and bring that about, so that works there. And then I would also, so that's the profiles, all your profiles across the board, do them, right? The second thing is that you can start doing, a campaign. Now, if your book's in Select on KDP, that also is in the Kindle Unlimited, which is where people pay a monthly. There's a lot of them, millions of them. They pay a monthly fee to have their books read by the page, that people can download it. They can download up to 20 books a month if they're a Kindle Unlimited member. They pay under $12 a month to do that. And for those who are just, they gobble up anything they can get a hold of. This is like for the super fans. They will read anything in a genre that is their genre. And they will go through that, and they will just go through them like crazy. Right. So you could create a campaign. You need to create a campaign to run your bestseller. So it would be, whatever your book genre is. Let's say it's epic fantasy. All right. It could be calling all epic fantasy readers. Grab the latest via author, and I would put the title of the, author and I'm just going to use one. Author Louis Savan, and today, and I would put today in caps as the push out, and I would say free. All right, then we'd have the link to the Amazon page that they have to go and click off. Just like if they're buying the book, they would go and they would click on it, and then that would be counted as a sold book. And that's where you're ranking. You're after ranking in this process. For the Kindle Unlimited poster campaign, you could literally say grab, the best-selling um, epic fantasy, hashtag epic fantasy all together, book via, and I would have at, author Louis Savon, and I would have the link back to the same page, but now I'd have a hashtag unlimited, hashtag Kindle Unlimited, hashtag Amazon Unlimited. Anything that would be the magnet attraction for those, I would have those going on in a separate campaign. Post it. Why? Why do you care about that? Because the Kindle Unlimited, through what is known as the Kindle KENP, right? That you make a fraction of a penny for every page that is turned in an ebook read. That's where the unlimited comes in. And having your book on unlimited, and it's if you're doing like the Amazon campaign that I do with my clients, they're all in select to do that. That if you're doing that, that you're in unlimited by default. Right now, let's push out. That's a whole nother group of people to say hello to let them know. And what I'm trying to say is, let's not do BB gun marketing or where we're just scattering it all over the place. Let's come in where the book buyers are. Like I do a lot of bookstores. I'm in Barnes and Noble a lot, signing books. What I love about a bookstore is that people that come in like books. They buy books. You just have to see if your books are a fit for them. That's all we have to worry about. So you market to the Kindle Unlimited, and you create all these little sayings that you can copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste. If you're the copy paster, okay, it makes it easy just to have, the schedule that you do every day that you push out with variations, with maybe different hashtags or some that are always constant, but a variation. And when I do a bestseller campaign, I have at least 10 posts that I will be putting out during this time. Now, we also make posters to go with them. There's wonderful Canva, great posters. You can do free or fee. You got them there. I love Photofunia, PHOTOFUNIA.com. It makes them really interesting, seasonal related. I mean, we are moving into the fall. October, November, December are huge book selling opportunities for you. The book buyers are out on it. And so, are you ready for them? Are you putting out bells and whistles to attract them? I hope so, as they come in. So, your Amazon seller is when you're going to do a campaign, you're going to buy an ad and you'll do it on your first day. I mean, you can do a secondary one with another company. We tell you which ones seem to work and which don't. But what really works well is the free Booksy, FREEBOOKSY. And then buy a book ad for that because they have a huge following. They'll tell you how many emails is this going to go out to? How many people are following them? Maybe 120,000 for $65 you pay, because your goal is to be able to coattail on people who have big influence factors that can let people know that your book is free today and tomorrow or the next day. I've just learned to say today, and then I can run the same one without changing it all around in there. So you've got those going. You're going to create a campaign to push out. You're going to be set up and knowing who can help you push out if you don't have a lot of followers. But if you're using the right hashtags, by the way, if you got your ad out, you may be just fine. on you don't need to have 10,000 contacts, all right? You can have that. Afterwards, when your campaign's over, hmm, how about a press release? Local author, achieves #1 status on Amazon. That's simple. You never know. Who would you send it to? They're in your local area. There's what we call the weeklies. I would be do a Google search on the weekly uh, print papers and I would put your region or something. See what comes up that would show you that they're alive and well. And they do like to feature local authors. They do want to chat up what's going on in their community with that. So, Amazon bestseller. Do you do it? Absolutely. I think you should do it. I've done it so many different times. I've done it for all my books. Do I put a new badge on the cover? Yes, I do. Do I add it to my profile on my social media? It could be just award-winning, best-selling. Good enough on that. Have you put if you write a press release, make sure you add that to your website. Go into all your profiles on that and including your website profile. You could put in your metadata best-selling author, award-winning author, if that's the appropriate tag also to add in that. That you want this whole thing of building this is to have your own awareness of marketing. I would suggest you think about doing a bestseller campaign at least twice a year on your book to keep it fresh, to keep it out there, to add on in that arena and let people know. And that on any live swag that you have, like a bookmark, make sure that you say you're award winning and best selling on that. And also make sure that you say that what formats your book in. Is it print? Is it audio? Is it ebook? And I put that on all of them. Now, the other thing is that one of the toughest things is gathering, reviews from customer reviews. And although the algorithms have all been changing quite a bit, it's hard to get what was known as, organic downloads, organic followers. That is changing across the board. But you can start doing some of these gathering ups of, who they are and encourage people to do it. Now, Amazon, I know in their Author Central, you don't say go to my website. You don't give your website on that. I mean, you don't put the link in. You can say it's available on your website, but you can't put the link in. It will absolutely take them there. Those days have gone. They're bypassed. But you can refer things to other things on your website for your clients and the like, which is certainly a plus on that. So let's do a recap. Amazon bestseller, I say yes. Can you do it all by yourself? Yep, you can. Do you need a little help? Never hurts. So this is where you have to ask around, and who's got in your circle, who's got contacts that they maybe would post out that you have a bestseller. That if you gave them a couple of your posts, that you could go ahead and push it out that way and continue. Let's just say continue to push out on that. And you're going to be doing that. When you do a bestseller campaign, and by the time this is not when you go on vacation, you do want to hang out a little bit to see what's going on. Now, the other thing is I copy. I keep a tracking page and I always do here's my rankings at 6 a.m. It's 6 a.m. on whatever the date is. And I actually do it for books and the Kindle. Why? Because we found that sometimes the Kindle downloads, uh, push out print book downloads as well, sales. So yeah, I do both because I want to see where it's going. Now I'll start checking in. And it used to be the old days, Amazon said, oh, we check every hour. No, they don't. They don't record every hour. Usually it's many, many, many hours in before you see anything. But you do want to get in the habit of checking every few hours to see if there's any change in your positioning. And then I take a snapshot of it and I carry it over so I know what's going on. I can see, when the traction starts coming into play. And I also, Amazon.com would be US, but Amazon.au is Australia. So I can just put that in and put the title of my book to see what's going on. Same thing. If there's any movement, I'll take a picture. Canada is Amazon.ca. UK is Amazon.co.uk on that. Germany is Amazon.de. They're all there that you can look up, and see where the action is. And there, let me just say one more thing because we have to close out here. Author Central has the ability to change your bio and information into other languages: Japanese, Portuguese, Spanish, French, German, and the like, Italian. Do it. It's free. And with that, I'm going to have to close off. Come see me at my next Amazon bestselling session, January 2026. Yikes.